It's easy as 1, 2, 3 finding a company that excels in electrical, plumbing, AC installation and repairs, painting and much more. SAS Electrical is here for you, giving you excellent service, great rates, timely completion. Contact SAS Electrical at 709-9215 or 359-1014. Call us today. SAS Electrical. Streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more. GLS 103.5 out of Tobago.
In your face, all over the place. We're online. You're listening to the hottest internet station
In the Caribbean, GLS
103.5.
out of Tobago. Buckle up those seatbelts. No drinking and driving. No overtaking on the shoulders. No texting and driving. Your family awaits you at home. Drive to arrive alive. A message from GLS 103.5. As the nation continues in its fight against the deadly novel coronavirus, COVID-19, GLS 103.5 urges you to continue observing the new normal. Continue social distancing. Wear your face mask. Wash your hands regularly. Use hand sanitizers. Avoid assembling and generally continue to clean and sanitize your environment. We thank everyone for their continued yeoman service. The doctors, nurses, hospital attendants, supermarket attendants, hardware workers, those involved in pharmaceuticals, public service transport workers, sanitation workers. You are to be applauded in the fight against this deadly, novel coronavirus COVID-19. We urge the nation to continue to be safe and take the necessary precautions against COVID-19.
Therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show my salvation. The workers of iniquity dig a pit for me. Now they're waiting for me to fall in, trying to take my bread and butter with lies and propaganda. But they're fooling, they're only fooling. I will not be afraid of what man can do to me. Man, you see, is only vanity. You see, who God bless, no man curse. He shall never hunger or thirst. Who God bless, no man shall ever curse. He shall be first. He shall be first. Lord. Whoa. All these years of toil, burning the midnight oil, creating something from nothing. Now it reached maturity and gained popularity. Some of them claiming is their own thing, but a short truth always prevails finally. So the death of lies and deceit is a certainty. You see, who God bless, no man curse. He shall never hunger or thirst. Who God bless, no man shall ever curse.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
Yes, good afternoon to one and all. Good afternoon to Kian Williams. I also like to say good afternoon goes out to Mina. Mina, good afternoon to you. Byron, good afternoon to the whole Byron family. Good afternoon to each and every one. It is, when I say it is very blazing hot sun on the outside, it's blazing hot sun. But we are here inside of GLS 103.5 online, where we bring you live with Mr. Charles this afternoon. So as we say, good afternoon to you, Mr. Charles. How are you?
Good afternoon, Brother Murray. And good afternoon to your listeners, your viewers,
yes,
everyone.
Thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome to our education program.
Yes.
As usual. I'm hearing yesterday. I listened to the news yesterday.
Yes, the same thing
let me hear you, Mr. Murray.
That
We're
was
chatting this evening.
Yes. Was it about no other political party cannot be formed in Tobago for the upcoming election?
No, not quite that he said. He said no other party group.
No other party group, yeah.
So what he said is an internal thing inside of that party. That they would have had their party groups.
Right.
And if you now form a new party group and you make nomination, it means it will be outside of the process and the procedure of their party.
Right.
So I understand that's an internal thing.
Right.
That's an internal party thing.
So basically, like how you already have your party.
No, it has nothing to do with us.
Right.
That's to do with that political party.
That political party.
That they will not, they have a procedure. But most of the parties will have it too, where the party groups will submit the names of the people in each of the electoral district, the names of the people who they would like to see being selected as candidates to contest the election.
Right.
So you can't form no new ones now within their party to submit any new names. Only the existing ones within their party can submit name, or else it'll create a lot of confusion. That's what he's saying. So that's an internal thing. It has nothing to do with other political parties. It has nothing to do with Tobago.
With Tobago, because this is what I was worried about.
You were troubled?
Yes, if it is that who would have a party, because two of the names that they called would have been the PNM and the PDP.
No, what they said about that was, and I think we need to say something about that, is that the PNM would have announced that they begin from yesterday their screening process.
Yes.
And it will end somewhere about on the 12th of next month, the 12th of October.
Correct.
In that same piece of news, they say, well, they know that the PDP already began their screening process. And they contacted Farley, and Farley would have said that very soon he's going to give the names of those people because their things are continuing.
Right.
But you hear nothing about One Tobago Voice.
No.
Well, we have not spoken to anybody, so maybe they don't have us. And I need to say something more about that. And we need to Tobago need to pay attention to what I am saying and what we are saying from One Tobago Voice.
Right, yes.
I mentioned this before, and I'm saying it constantly and consistently, that the powers that be, the status quo in Trinidad and Tobago, including government, political parties, business interests in both Trinidad and Tobago, because most of the businesses in Tobago, a lot of them are branches of businesses from Trinidad. Follow me well. So we're talking about the big businesses in Trinidad and so on. Most, including they control the media.
Yes.
Most of them
control the media.
I'm saying to you, do not want to hear anything coming out of One Tobago Voice, because One Tobago Voice is the only group in Tobago that seeks the interests of the Tobago people and trying to find the power, get our power over in Tobago so that we can exercise that power, including the power to discuss with government in Trinidad how they share the money and the revenue that come from the resources in Tobago space, including oil and gas. Tobago is also a captive market for Trinidad. And let me explain that. Most of the businesses in Trinidad know that they can load a van in Trinidad and come to Tobago the next day and go back with money.
Yes.
Because of the fact that Tobago does not have goods coming from anywhere else in the world to come into Tobago. So they have no competition. So Tobago is captive, just waiting for businesses from Trinidad to come to Tobago to sell them goods. If what we are doing is saying most of the goods that come from the outside world, from North America, from Canada, from England, from wherever they come from, pass right in front of Scarborough and go down to Trinidad.
Yes.
And then somebody order it.
Yes.
They unload it in Trinidad, put the prices, the markup on it, then put it back. I'm not even talking about the difficulty about getting it back to Tobago. But let's leave that alone. That has its own little problem.
Yes.
Load it there and send it to Tobago, and we have to buy it at the high price because we don't have no goods coming from directly outside of the world directly into Tobago. What we trying to do is to break the neck of that. And no business people in Trinidad, none of them would want that to happen. So our views and our voice must not be heard. They would not give us a cent for our political party. So you would not see us nor hear us on the radio or the television. We have to pay. Anytime you see us, we pay for it.
Okay.
I'm saying that to Tobago, and I said that to you before,
Yes.
And I say it already, and I will repeat it. Mr. A.N.R. Robinson, when he left the PNM in 1970, and he formed the ACDC, AC Action Committee of Dedicated Citizens, and then we formed the DAC with the DLP, joined up with the DLP and formed the DAC.
Right.
We had one television station in the country, the government owned, and 2 radio stations. It's something I'm saying, I hope you're paying attention to what I'm saying. Dr. Williams, the PNM, Prime Minister Trinidad and Tobago, banned Robinson's face from television.
Wow.
Say they can hear your voice, but they mustn't see you.
They mustn't see you. Yeah.
Why? Why is that so? Why? You are promoting something that is contrary to his wish and the business community wish in Trinidad. And I'm saying that to Tobago. Tobago people ask me, but we're hearing everybody. But I say, you think we're not talking? The media would not print anything we say.
Correct.
The others that print nonsense. Look at our partner who just lose the election. He talk all kind of crap, all kind of malicious things about people, and they are printed.
Yes.
But you will not hear our voice, except you see we pay and go on one of those television stations, and you can't pay the money to go on the national station, for example, like TV6 and so on.
Yeah.
You can't pay for it, except you get sponsors. And the sponsors, what you're doing is contrary to their interests.
Yes.
So they're not paying for it. And that's why we will remain in bondage if the business community and others in Tobago don't understand that we are the people fighting for your freedom. Look at Mandela. When Mandela was in South Africa, 27 years he spent in jail. What the powers in fact, the world deemed Mandela as a terrorist.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
All over the world until he became the president. Fight against apartheid, a vicious system against black people in South Africa. And you know that?
Of course.
When he become the president, the whole world says the best, nicest human being.
Never meet,
The same man that was terrorist yesterday.
Yes.
Don't fight for the rights of your people, boy. Or that is what we are doing. That is why you will not see us. You think we don't talk to the media? We talk all the time. All these kind of very important information that everybody say that they want and they see. We telling the media this, they're not printing that. That is not in their interest.
So true, so true.
And you ought to pay attention to that. So you follow what they're doing. And they say sadness lies ahead to those people who chase after the crowd's praise rather than God's truth. You run after the praise of the crowd. Run after that. Follow them. Run after that. Sadness lies ahead of you if you don't follow God's truth. Because the truth is the only thing that will set you free.
Yes, yeah.
Deception and lies and all the rhetoric and the nonsense that going on will keep you in bondage. Keep Tobago in bondage. And that's our problem. And we may touch on some of those issues sometimes. Yeah. We don't know, man. We allow people to flatter us, flattery, nonsense talk. Who is fighting for Tobago? Nobody. No. None of the others that you shout say that the media promoting. What is Tobago election about? And as you know, Tobago election will come up very soon. And it means that we're not out of election yet, so we have to talk about election again. We come here to educate the people on things like taxation. And let me say this up front. Well, in fact, I better repeat or remind you.
Obvious.
Trinidad and Tobago, every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago will know where barley goes, where barley grows after Budget Day on the 5th of October. Then I will come here by the grace of God.
Yes. And speak
to repeat some of the things I say to you. And it's then you're going to start to listen. Some of the things we were saying that we need to do. I'm hearing some of the economists and so on talking about some of them on television. If you listen to them.
Yes.
We don't know what is going to happen. The government of Trinidad and Tobago right now, as you know, is the first time in the history of this country they announced the budget date so early before the presentation. And you know that?
Yeah.
The first time. You don't know the reason? The reason is they want to hear the views of the population. They want to hear what the population think, to know how to shape the budget, how to shape and shape. They know what problem they're facing, right?
Yes.
In terms of the revenue of the country and so on.
Yes.
But they want to hear the population so that they're trying to ease the kind of pressure, the kind of opposition to what they are coming up with. So they want to hear, so they see they could blend some of that into what they're going to be presenting, if they can. Secondly, they are, after hearing the views on the 28th, which is next week, some days, next week, maybe next week Monday, they are going to do a presentation. Let me call it a dry run. Let me not use their word. A kind of dry run of the budget. And you know that? There have been a virtual thing, where the budget thing will be discussed and they're running a whole thing, the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance. Just remember, budget day is the 5th of October. Yes. When they do that on the 28th, it looks like if it's a dry run of what they're going to be presenting. Not necessarily the same thing, but a kind of dry run of what they want to present on the 5th of October. When you do that on the 28th, you have a whole week again to hear what the people say about the dry run. So you have a chance for a week in order now to look at the budget and to make further changes onto it. So when you come to make your presentation on the 5th, it seemed to me that you might be taking the views, and then you will have, even though you're not taking the views of everybody on board because you just cannot do that, you now have the answer that you would have had time to prepare. You have time to prepare that for so long, the answer to what the people have been saying and what the opposition may come to say. So they have everybody's views.
Exactly.
After the budget is presented, God sparing our lives, I will come here to talk to you. And then people going to remember. You remember I talk about the money that we are going to be making for water alone from Bloody Bay? 71 billion TT dollars in the last 18 years. We'd have been financing Trinidad today, Trinidad and Tobago. So when they bring the taxes, I will be coming and talk about tax on this same station here and throughout Tobago.
Yes.
Tobago would not have been paying these taxes. If we were in government in Tobago, these taxes we're not going to be paying them.
Yeah, it will not improve
No.
Tobago.
No, even the property tax. I hearing people say, we want to pay property tax. But you remember what the tax was? The tax was $10 per acre. It was land and building taxes. It was $10 per acre or any part thereof. So if you have a lot of land, it used to be $10 you used to pay for it. If you have a building on it now, they will assess the building and then you pay your taxes upon the building. I have the land and building tax. Remember, but in 2009, as you know, there's a new tax, the property tax, which is putting everything together, revaluation of property and so on. And the tax would have gone up. It's a regressive, punishing tax. This is why the government who took over in 2010, remember they voted out the government for that and put in the PP government. They went there, they couldn't implement it because it was too draconian, because they won the election on that basis about axe the tax. You remember that? Axe the tax was the campaign for 2010. And then the PNM went back inside for 5 years after that, and they realized that there are real difficulty, and they're now saying that they will bring it back because of the situation with the finances. But I want to tell the government, and I will prove that, I run Tobago with 300 million total. Total budget, both capital and recurrent budget was 300 million. 345, 354, just 300 million. And I want to say this. We have done more than everybody else with the 300 million. And I put the government before the DRC and win all this money that Tobago have today. And it's a point I want to make on that. You never hear we talk about them kind of nonsense. And I was saying, and I continue to say, that you can reduce taxes and increase revenue for the country. You can reduce tax and increase revenue. I hearing everybody saying tax. And I said, no, you can reduce taxes. I live in the Bahamas and worked there for a year with the Bahamas government. Okay. And it was tax-free. Okay. You can reduce taxes and increase revenue. I'm not going to talk about that now until after budget. But I said it for a million years while I was in the assembly, that we can do that. Tell you how to do that. Tell me something. With the one project in Bloody Bay, that could have given us $3.9 billion US per year for water alone to see about 65,000 people. You think Tobago would have been paying taxes, them kind of taxes? But you will pay the property tax in order to keep it on the books. You follow? Keep it on the books. So your $10 per acre, and I'm not going to be proposing anything now. The government can do something about that and not move it beyond that, and don't introduce that wicked, brutal, regressive property tax that they have in the legislation of 2009. But when they want to say that people don't want to pay tax, that's true. People want to pay the property tax, but not exorbitant property tax. And I will deal with that and link it with the stamp duty to show you the viciousness and wickedness of government. And that is why our self-government in Tobago would have removed Tobago from all of those things. I'm serious. It's not a joke. I will come here and I want people to question these things. Let me explain these things to you. And I'm not going to do them now because make too much thing to the Tobagonian right now until the budget read. Then they will know where barley grows. And then they will now look to understand when we were saying, don't wait until you are thirsty to dig your well. We wait until we're real thirsty. We start to dig, we were looking for other areas because beside oil and gas. And we were saying that to the country and the government. We put it in writing and said, hey man, we did not become free, a free country from colonialism, to become slaves again to oil and gas. While it is important to look at that as one source of revenue, we need to look at the unused potential of both Trinidad and Tobago. We spell those things out, We spell them out. And we will come to here on your program and deal with the details. Bloody Bay water, one project, Bloody Bay water source alone will finance Trinidad and Tobago. And we never knew about COVID. COVID now, I went in a place today and there no water to wash your hand. Is it sanitizer we have to use? Pipe the lock off.
Yeah, same thing down here, no water.
Wait, and it was. It's going to be worse. And I was saying to people, look, since how many years? 23 years ago. That, hey, water going to shut down soft drink companies, If there is another world war, it is going to be for water. A fella tell me, boy, I cuss you, boy. So you don't issue. He admit that to me about a year ago when I went to trim here. I think I told that already. But I tell me, boy, I can't do it without bottled water. No, I did cost you, say you don't ish. I say, I in good company because Noah was considered a dotish man to, rain go fall, he be in a boat in the sun. That's how the spirit works.
Yes.
Spirit sense and common sense is not the same.
So
Spirit sense is what's going to happen. You have to be able to be in that position to hear both. You feel we're bright. We're not bright, We're nothing but dirt,
Exactly.
That's right. Without God's spirit in us, and you must hear what that spirit saying because He alone knows. Boy, look, I tell you. So I would like to hear people. So, and I don't want, as I said, to deal with details of those things now until the budget read. And people backs against the wall. And they're looking for ways out. Then we will say, this is what we were saying to you. Let me just say this one thing here.
Just permit me one moment. Good afternoon to Florence, Madeleine, and also good afternoon to Diane. And also good afternoon to Julie Joseph. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Diane Roberts joined. Florence Mahadi joined. Very nice.
Inside.
I listened to Deuce, the fellow with the tire shop.
Deuce?
Yeah, at Canby.
Yeah.
And you know Deuce?
Yeah, Deuce.
I don't know his correct name properly. I think he's a pan tuner.
Yes.
He tune a lot of pan and so on. One of the great pan tuners that they still have around. And he was talking to the president of Tuku a couple of weeks ago. I listened to that thing on the radio.
Okay.
And he was saying to him, they were having the conversation. The president of Tuku was somebody else with a program that Tuku run. Tobago, the Trinidad and Tobago Calypsonian Association. And Deuce was saying, you know much what attend a pran in the United States? I do have the figure, boy. It's a couple $1,000 US.
Yeah.
And he was saying, we should have been able to be exporting pan, and there's no limit. The world can get. And the tuners are here. You don't know. I show you something in culture. This is our manifesto that the people didn't vote for in 2001. And we will go through this and deal with some of them just now, but you are.
Good afternoon to Mr. Wayne Clark, saying good afternoon to Mr. Charles and
Good
Mr.
afternoon,
Murray,
my brother.
out there in New York. Good afternoon to you,
Good
my brother.
afternoon, I want
Yes, but Mr.
journey. I want to go to education, culture. I want you to listen to this. People don't know what we were doing, although we go throughout this country. It's not that they don't know. Let me say that. They didn't believe.
Correct. I'll use that.
Because I had to change some of the statements I'm making, by saying, people saying, we don't know. They know, but they don't believe. The people in Noah time knew what he was saying because he was talking to the same people for 120 years. They know, but they didn't believe. And you only act on where you believe. The Tobagonians know. I want to repeat that 3 times. The Tobagonians know. They know, but they don't believe. So you only act on what you know and believe. What you know and you don't believe, you don't act on it. That's the problem. Don't believe. Want to run behind a truck. After budget, you talk to me. Listen to this. We're going to put the same festivals commission they put in place, and they didn't understand nothing about it. What they have there is a joke business. They would have been able to be financing and paying the way assembly and your taxes did not to go to run carnival there, you know. Hello, to run carnival here was not going to be paid for out of taxpayers' money, you know, when we put the festival commission in place, you know. But listen to this. We will provide the special incentives and a financial support for the private sector. Listen to this now. To set up a Tobago pan factory in collaboration with the Institute of Festivals and the Tobago Festivals Commission. This factory will have the technological capability to export the highest quality instrument. This is 2000 Look at here, you know. This is not now, you know. This is 20 years ago. Follow me well. Let me finish reading. This factory, so when I hear those, this is our manifesto 2001, you know, written this in 2000. This factory will have the technological capability to export the highest quality instruments. We will also use all its avenues to win national and international support for this venture. We're going to WIPO, the World Intellectual Property Organization. You know what that will be? The monetary that looking for, and that's foreign exchange. Yes. We would have I would like to them fellas sit down and calculate this one. Tobago was going to be making billions of dollars for the export of pan. Hear this. We will develop a schools in pan project in collaboration with the Division of Education. Not pan in school. When you talk about pan in school, you have a school running and you introduce pan in it. There would have been a school in pan. It's a different thing, you know. Yes. Not pan that you put in school. You have a school running with all kind of program and you put pan as one of the items inside there. This not so. This would have been school. What? School in pan. The ideas that we had. You see the kind of foreign exchange we're talking about here? Yes. Water project alone was enough. We are going to be doing the pan because that is for your entrepreneurs. These are for your artists. These are for your technical people and so on, your innovators and creators and so on. Yeah. And we were going to be making foreign exchange in this country for pan. I heard this fella a couple of weeks ago, you know, talking about this. We're talking about not million, you know, for pan. That would have been in place. So while they were focusing on oil and gas that we know going to be looking up, we were going to be looking at these areas, and now we require it. Not only that, Studley Park is one. They now start Studley Park after 18 years. We started to build the Deepwater Harbor there, put on the Breasting Dolphin and them there. They now wake up and see that. You know how much money they lose? By sending aggregates to the outside world, the best kind of aggregate we have. And then but after in 2001, we are going to be having what you call the abrasive cloth industry set up there, what you call sandpaper, emery, and all of those things. Them things when them fella go in and buy the grinders to cut things, that was going to be up there too. Wow. We're going to be export that to the world because the best quality. Both the French, the British, and the Americans say so. This is why to crush those andesite stones at the park is France to design the jaw. You know. We buy the plant from the United States of America. Alison and I went out there in Cedar Rapids, Texas. But when they test the quality stone in England, and they didn't have the quality material to make it, it's Norborg in France that built the crusher jaw to crush them stone there. And that's why the British people say, we come in and join with you all to set up this abrasive cloth industry, a joint venture in Sully Park. Nothing happen. We sit down here and people begging and scrunting. And we have an election coming up. Yeah. And when that change, when the budget finish, read. So we are going to be telling Tobagonians about the candidates that will do these things for them. You remember, I read out last week about the launch of the Writing and Development Plan. You remember that? Yes. And when we say computer literacy and foreign language would have been compulsory in our primary school. So right now, the online story would not have been an issue for Tobago. That would have been 23 years old. All of our secondary school and primary school children and them from ABC, what we call primary, from what do they call it? What do they call them? Because they call it school, they change the school them now. No infancy, they call them a different name now. Yes, is that right? Yeah, the primary school. The infants, no, the infants down there in first year, second year, and so on. Right, yes. Those children there, all of them would have been computer literate. When you meet up to standard 3, to go up to write, you would have been on the computer because all your studies would have been by the internet. You would have been on Zoom, all the technology, the primary school, because it would have been compulsory. Yes. And Spanish would have been compulsory in our schools. Yes. You don't want to do any other foreign language because we live in Latin America. Mm-hmm. No, the Venezuelans flourishing in Trinidad and Tobago. We can't talk a word of Spanish.
And good afternoon to you, Mr. James.
23 years. 23 years ago, when we took up this thing, you see this? People must come to read it, to see what it says. Our university will have been set up here. The University of Tobago, it's there. With so many faculties all over. I mean, I don't want to come here to talk about this. Let the budget finish. And when they start up with the tax, and I am going to come here to show you, and it's not something that I now get up and think about. It was documented, and that is what we were going to be implementing. It's there. It was in the manifesto. It was in the development plan, and then we pull it out into the manifesto. A lot of these things I'm talking about now. So it's not like Hochoy now saying that. We put this to the people and they vote against it. We paid a price.
Exactly.
And we're not happy about that. And then we're talking about, we don't understand this Tobago thing yet, I said this to people. You will laugh this too. People laugh. And I said, Tobago is more difficult to run than Trinidad. Because Tobago, Trinidad have a system and structure in place.
Correct.
You only want a leader to deliver that thing to the people. Come up with your new plans and deliver. All the infrastructure, all the thing in place. Tobago now fighting a colonial power for its power, and then have to put a system in place fighting the colonial power. This is why Trinidad also went to get release from England, so that they could be able to develop and run. We now looking for a release from Trinidad and looking now to prepare a plan to run the island of Tobago. It's more difficult. And I'm saying that in the context that we know some of us who are intellectual still promoting a little fella like Farley to say we want him to run the theatre. He's going to be cannon fodder. Like you said in a kindergarten picnic, to fight a war. You want generals in that war to fight this, to put it in place. When you put it in place, you can go and relax.
Yes.
Go, move out, relax, and see that the fellas there run it properly and so on.
Correct.
But before that, it's a joke. You can't send people there. And I hear people talking some stupidness where they don't understand. About advisor. You know advisor in politics as well? Nobody know. We're talking stupidness. Plenty stupidness that we don't know.
Right.
How does that work? Anybody knows?
Good question.
I don't know.
Good afternoon to Kian Williams. Good afternoon to
Doesn't
Mr.
work
Anthony
so.
James.
It doesn't work like that. You have to know and take your people. That is why God didn't tell. Wait, you remember Joshua walked by the side?
Yes.
And so many people are in Tobago. Maybe you could even walk it if they were with you. somebody who knows. You're working with you all the time, so you are training. They're not even there.
Yes.
They are outside of that scope, working with people who don't have a clue. And now saying, well, I want to go in there and I would want so-and-so to advise me. It doesn't work so. It cannot work like that.
So true.
By the time you find out how this somebody talking to you, by the time you find out that, the whole time gone. People suffering because you have to deliver services to people. Run the island, prepare the island, while at the same time you're still negotiating with a colonial power in Trinidad. And if you don't know the system and the structure, they will make you cannon fodder. You're like a sheep to the slaughter.
Yes, you will.
This is joke business we are in. This is not joke. The government is not joke skylark business.
Wow. Good afternoon also to Ms. Fernandez.
You know, it's so serious, man. Sometimes I sit down and want to know if people know. I want to sit down with them who talking them story and ask them, do you all know what you're talking about? I sit down with somebody and ask them, do you know it Tobago Assembly? No. I asked 2-3 questions on it. I said, well, how, if that is your constitution, that the tool by which you work, you don't know it now, where you going?
Yeah.
Where are you going? Where you want to go in there to read it? You know how long it's taking you to understand that? And there are 6 different interpretations of it. You have to understand the spirit of it. Because the letter of it can be interpreted so many different ways. But if you have to understand the spirit, because when you go to court on something, it is the intent of that thing that the court has used to determine whether you're right or you're wrong.
Yes.
Because 2 lawyers read the same thing, which is the letter.
Yeah.
But they have 2 different interpretations
Yes.
based upon the context where they see it from. And then the court will go. And that is why sometimes they look at what was said in the parliament when this legislation was being passed. And then they now know the government intent was this. And this is the intent that must be implemented. No matter what you interpret it as, this was the intent.
So
that's the spirit.
Tell me from your point of view, Mr. Charles, what do you think about the upcoming THA election? What is your intake on this?
But everybody in Tobago should know about it. Because you go in and vote, and you're voting in the dark.
Well, this is why I need to...
Listen to me. We put out a document, we continue to put them out, oh God. The Tobago House of Assembly election is for Tobago people. To be able to run Tobago, to manage Tobago, to run it to determine how we are governed and how we develop this place. A lot of those powers are in the present THA Act. Plenty of it not there. So it means then that we have to work that act until we fight and get the rest of powers. And we know what to do it. To get the rest of powers, to allow those different interpretations from being with the act. It must be clear. So everybody will know. So while you are fighting in order to get the power from Trinidad, the required power in order to fix Tobago, the way we say it will be fixed, the present THA Act have a lot of those powers that we can do that the chaps who are there don't understand it. Follow me well. So you require people that you put it in that power, in that office to understand that this THA Act that you're going to be your tool, because just remember, no new power will be given to Tobago before the next election. Right? Follow me well. So you have to put people who know and who could fight to get the rest. Now, while that is so, that is the upcoming thing, you cannot have a party from Trinidad contesting that election because you are looking for Tobagonian to manage this place. And when I say Tobagonian, don't get misunderstood by that, It has to be a Tobago party that is directed and controlled by Tobagonian and subject to adult suffrage of the Tobagonian. The Tobagonian must say, if you're not good, we must fire you. Nobody from Trinidad must dictate that. And that's our problem. So once you have the People's National Movement is a party from Trinidad that control government down there, sending up candidates in Tobago, it could be your mother, you should not vote for them because they will be directing what happens here. You're continuing the colonial power and domination of Trinidad over Tobago. Right. And likewise, the other party in Trinidad, which is the UNC, have agent in Tobago, which is the PDP. So none of them qualify to contest this election. If you all don't understand, you all going to be slaves forever, you know.
Good afternoon to Alvin Samaru. How are you, sir?
Oh, yes. Talk to him today.
Yes.
No, I talked to him, but the man down there. I went to buy the things today.
Oh, yes. Oh, okay, we will discuss that.
But we talk about that later.
Yes.
That's not a problem.
Yes.
So we'll be able to get our business, and I want to run a training school up there too, you know.
Yes.
Not a joke.
Yeah, having something to educate the people is important.
But you know what? Somebody look at me today and say, they saw, like they were picturing something like in a dream, that the place that are upstairs and downstairs, I'm talking about right in Bizol. And I was there teaching in the upstairs section, lecturing to people, teaching them about this Tobago thing. Look what today, you know, look where I end up. She don't even know, the person don't know I'm coming to this program. You see me?
Yes, see?
I just watch the person and smile.
Yes, see?
I smile. So nobody in Tobago, I used to preach that years ago all over. Say, if my mother was alive, in fact, when I was saying that in the early days, she was alive. I said, if my mother was contesting an election in Tobago, a Tobago House of Assembly election, on a ticket, on a PNM ticket, or a UNC sponsored ticket, I will not vote for her. Because I am putting my children's life and my life at risk.
Yes.
You're jeopardizing the future. Don't matter if the person is my daddy.
Exactly.
And that's what we going and making a mistake. That all the parties from you are going to Trinidad. Trinidad control us.
Yes.
And that's why Dr. Williams' statement in 1957 said, Tobago Exchange, the neglect, you know, the neglect of British imperialism. It means that Tobago from 17-something was under British rule. Way back until 1899. And then Britain link us up now with Trinidad. So Trinidad now controlling Tobago. So from 1899 now to 1957 when Dr. William, he came in 56 as you know, 1957 was chief minister. He went to the parliament and made that statement here. That Tobago Exchange, the neglect of British imperialism for the neglect of Trinidad imperialism. So he's saying that Britain neglected us for so many years up to 1899, and Trinidad from 1899 to the time he was making that statement in 1957, Trinidad also neglected us. And then he continued to say that Tobago is paying a price, but of course if we neglect us, we're paying a price for the union with Trinidad that we should never pay. And whatever Trinidad gives to Tobago is a small mite that Trinidad must pay for the act of this union. And that's the point he was making.
Yes.
And I explained that several times on this station. That what he was saying is, if Tobago was not linked up with Trinidad, Britain do that. Tobago would have been an independent place like Grenada or St. Kitts or one of them.
Exactly.
And Trinidad would have been locked in between Tobago and independent Tobago and Venezuela. And between Venezuela and Trinidad, as you know, is 7 miles of water. So 3.5 miles of the water, we're using it rough, 3.5 miles of the water. Half the water belongs to Trinidad and half belongs to Venezuela.
Yes,
and that's why I explained to people. And people in Trinidad didn't know until I speak to a couple of people, you know, including some pastors, you know. Because they were mad, you know. Every time the Guardia National come in and lock up people from right in the Gulf of area, that look like being in Trinidad, eh? You come and take men from Trinidad and carry them up in Venezuela, and we have a government. I hear them saying that, and I sit down with them, and I have to say to them, hello, do you know, when I explain this and say, you know, 3.5 miles of the water is yours, and 3.5 of Venezuela, after I explain this. So the people that they lock up, were over the 3.5 miles in Venezuela territory. You know, they say, the eyes open. I say, yeah. I said, and then now, between Tobago and Trinidad is 22. So if we were independent, that's the point William was making. If we were independent, 11 miles of the water would have been Trinidad, and 11 belong to Tobago. But going up to Barbados, and I'm going to say something about that in a minute, we have 200 miles, the exclusive economic zone that Trinidad benefiting from. It's Tobago that bring that to the Union. Trinidad was not going to benefit from that. Trinidad and bong with Barbados. And I listened to the Prime Minister when they were opening the BHP Billiton thing that they did with the deep water well they're digging out there.
Okay.
You know what he said? You hear what I was saying? That Mia Motley, the Prime Minister of Barbados should have been there, but because of the COVID, because it's an overlap, the way the things are, it's both of them. And the thing with Trinidad, I said, wow. Prime Minister still on there, you know?
Yes.
I said, wow.
So
Trinidad bong with Barbados?
Tell me this. Not Tobago.
True. It's Tobago. And that's what Williams was saying.
Yes.
So all that deep water and that gas that they're doing there, 5 trillion, we say 10 trillion cubic feet of gas that there in out there. Years we printing that inside of this in a speech that I gave in Tobago already, long time. They know monetizing that.
Okay.
No. One of the geologists, like Rowley, is from Belgarden. I listened to him saying that. And that's why he engaged the person and so on. Okay. And then one of the media person asked Dr. Williams, not Dr. Williams, Dr. Rowley.
Yes, sir.
You hear the question they ask him? Since that is closer to Belgarden, which is out there,
yes.
How about the sharing of the wealth? How are you going to distribute the wealth that coming from there? I listened to Dr. Rowley's statement was, and I have to say a paraphrasing, well, it's Trinidad and Tobago.
Not Tobago.
You wait.
Exactly.
And this is why I said to people, you all don't understand the difference between Mr. Robinson and Dr. Rowley. Mr. Robinson did what he had to do for Tobago because he was representing Tobago East and represent Tobago.
Yes.
So what Tobagonian want, Robinson had to fight to make sure he get it for Tobago because it belong here. Dr. Rowley never represent Tobago. He represent Diego Martin West. And once he want to be in power, and his constituency is Diego Martin West, is that Diego Martin West tell him, even if that he has to do, or else they're not going to vote for him.
Correct.
And that is why we have to be careful to talk about he wanna win. No, it doesn't work so.
Like
The man constituency is in Trinidad. And if they say you got to support this for so, and you can't support Tobago and that he can't support it, or else you have to leave. And that's the fact.
Yes, my people, send your comments.
Yes,
And don't forget you can call in as well.
Yeah, that is foolishness. And that is why I had mentioned on your program here, and I did it during the election that just gone, about what the chap sent for me, my good friend, about the trees. The forest was dwindling, shrinking. The forest was shrinking. You remember that? The forest was shrinking, it losing trees. When you shrink, you're losing trees. Forest shrinking, trees disappearing. Axe cutting down the trees. Axe cutting down the trees in the forest, and the forest becoming smaller and smaller. But you know, the trees, they continue to vote for the axe because the axe was clever and the axe was able to convince the trees. Well, I'm one of you know becoming handler, I got a wood. So he's wood. You are wood, I am wood. And they continue to vote for the axe, and the axe continue to chop down it. That's how Rowley and all of them treat Tobago. And Tobago are not waking up. And we say to people, if the forest change and the monkeys remain the same, they will die. You know, there's no more food in the forest change.
Yes.
But we continue to be...
Still voting.
Of course.
Wow.
The forest changing, but the monkeys remain the same. They're going to die. Because the forest don't change up so much that there are no food there. But the monkeys remain there. Monkeys have to change. Oh my God, I love this place.
That is plenty
Yes.
food for thoughts there.
You remember I did ask you a question when I come in last time. A fella asked me this sometime and I shared with people. That if there are 10 monkeys, you remember that? If there are 10 monkeys sitting on a bridge,
Right, yes.
and one jump off, how many remain? And you're playing your bright you say 9 going to remain.
Yes.
And I say none.
None.
None remain. You remember that?
Yes, I
You-
remember that.
none remain.
Exactly.
And you say, but if 10 of them there
Yeah.
and one jump up, 9 monkey. I said, no, what monkey see, monkey do.
Monkey do,
so
yes.
if one jump up, all
All
jump up.
jump off. Yes, yes. That is so true.
Yeah.
Yes, people send us
Let
your
me don't
comments.
behave like that. Let me don't behave like that. Let us be creative, be a thinking people. Because this thing is serious, you know. The budget coming up there is going to be dreadful. And the next one going to be worse too.
Wow.
The Prime Minister would have given some kind of indication of that even the night of the election. Say the next 2 years going to be very, very difficult. You remember that?
Yes,
But we know that.
was stated, yeah.
And I'm hearing some figures. I don't want to comment on them now. This is why I tell you I am going to be back here to deal with revenue for the country without taxing people after the budget. I want to hear what they're bringing and where they're going to do the population training. And I will show you what we were saying to the government, the things that's still there to make money to prevent the country from taxing people the way they want to tax them. So they will see that it's not new and creative that we just come up and innovative we come up with. We were saying that. And if we did not lose the election, because I was running here with 300 million. If we didn't lose the election in 2001, Tobago would have been mining Trinidad already. We would not have been in this nonsense. Long time. We'd have been out of that.
Out of that.
And then I will come because I don't know what they're going to do with VAT. But I now find the documentation on VAT. And I will come and deal with that. I just want to I went into my archives. Look at this, Brother Murray. Watch. What is Mark? VAT.
Yeah,
VAT.
Yes, VAT.
To help our nation grow. From January 1st, 1990, a new form of taxation takes effect in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, here are the facts about VAT. The ABC.
Wow.
You know, this is Guardian. No? This is what? Sunday Express, the Ministry of Finance
Sunday
VAT
Express,
supplement,
yes,
November
yes.
26, 1989. 11 to be introduced in 1990. So when I hear people say things, and I say, we explain this to the country, and you know the person that the PNM government used upon the NAR to damage this, you're going to listen to what we're going to say now. Dr. Rowley, you know?
Yes.
So now we have to introduce some things. I find the document, I went in my archives, and I put it in my file.
I like how you said you went in your archive.
Went in the archives, and I find it, and I put it in the file. And when people say, we didn't know,
Yes.
I just want to just say this. And not didn't mean nothing else in it.
Right.
I told people, I was part of the government, you know, value added tax was not an additional tax.
Yes.
Value added tax was a replacement tax, was a new tax, but it was a replacement tax for the purchase tax system.
Okay.
We had a system of purchase tax in the country where the lowest rate of purchase tax was 20% on any item. And up to a high of 85% on some item. This is the item, the cost of the item here. On some, and I have the details of here, you know, I have some here, but I don't want to deal with it, you know. 85% purchase tax at the period. Anyhow, government removed that system there and introduced value-added tax at 5% lower than the lowest rate of purchase tax that you used to pay. That is why goods and services come down. And we were able to zero rate a lot of items. Items you used to pay tax on, you pay no tax on it. The tax system, the income tax system was also removed from 13 man or 11 man to 4. All of this in this document.
Wow.
And people didn't want to hear a word from the NER. Just like you don't want to hear us now, you will pay a price. And I don't believe some of you will survive after this 2 budget year.
Yes.
We playing with stubborn?
Good afternoon to Margaret, saying good afternoon to Mr. Special, good afternoon to Mr. Charles.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon,
Thank
good
you.
afternoon.
And Mr.
Moraldo.
Alvin, there's a comment from Mr. Alvin.
When you were in power, agriculture was blooming with the little kind of over in the mess now. Of course, we don't even want to discuss that. we don't even want to discuss agriculture because I was talking to somebody today about agriculture and why we used to be able to feed Trinidad and Tobago. That requires a long discussion. We were using, because of the change in the world, the change of the environment in Tobago, the change of the land titles, the change of a lot of some, even the demographics too in Tobago, we were able to introduce in our development something we call agrotourism. That we are going to be using tourism, not the nonsense we're doing here now, using tourism to stimulate back the development of agriculture. Because people didn't understand the concept of what tourism used to be long ago.
Okay.
You used to have the foreigners, the white people from England, the planters, own the great house that looked like a hotel. We consider, the great house on the estate looked like a hotel, right? And their friends and other people used to come from England and stay in the great houses, right? So that like tourism, right? Yes. And on that estate, all the food and everything used to be produced. And I'm able to walk through there, see how this is grown, see how the snake, how the butterfly, how the bees, how they are pollinating these things and so on. They come on a holiday. So we were using that concept that we call agrotourism. To use back the same thing there. Tobago Plantation was like that. Kendall was like that. Even Lato and them still have a large piece now. You notice? That's how it used to be. But on those estates, they used to permit, after slavery, they used to permit the free slave, for example, like my father or like them people, they used to permit them. You're working on the estate to deal with the copra and the cocoa. You remember that? So that they could be able to ship those to make money abroad. But they used to give them a large parcel of land to mine the animals and to grow their food. During that kind of system, Tobagonian used to produce enough food and livestock to feed Trinidad and Tobago. The whole thing changed.
Just take this next comment from Mr.
So we have to spend some time to go through that. And we are going to have back that going in a particular way, Lord God.
Yes.
Anyhow.
Mr. Alvin Samaru.
Yeah, man, thank you. He says save it for next week. Yes, thank you, Mr. Samaru.
He also have a next one where he say we used to pay, I seen this one.
We used to pay tax on electronics and appliances. Yeah, but we're still doing that on some of them. And well, next week when I come and I talk about that, you will see what you used to pay on those and what the NER government would have done to bring down the price on those. Other government after that would have carried up. It's in this document that I just brought out there, but that is not for today. I'm waiting until the government prepare the budget next week, on the 5th. Prepare the budget on the 5th. And when they put down the tax on you all, I will show you what the NER government would have done about those things to save this country. I mean...
Good afternoon, Margaret. Good afternoon, Nicole Pasnell.
Yeah, man. Pesnell. Oh, God, when I look at these things sometimes, sometimes I cry, boy. Yeah.
Yes, all of you, don't forget to send your comments and interact.
Yeah, man. Look, I mean, this is a newspaper,
Yes. What year?
1989.
1989.
For the introduction of VAT on the 1st of January 1990.
Wow.
Everything was explained to the population. We went meetings upon meetings all through Trinidad and Tobago explaining this thing. Oh, Lord, by the PNM government, the people didn't want to hear. They're telling them that this tax, this VAT is a dangerous tax. And we said, but it's not a new... man. Nobody want to hear our voice. Just like when we talking in Tobago. Want to get rid of you? No, I listen to all the economists them talking and say, we make a mistake. Up to last week before, we make a mistake with the NER government. It's the only one that take the bull by the horn to save this country. You know that? I listen to them saying that. Both Mariano Brown, I hear you say that. I hear the UNC one, who was energy man there. He just be down there.
Narayan.
He's saying that too. And Hussein, they're saying that, And they say, well, some of that me coming back. But you remember the 10% that we are taking from people and so on. All of that we must come and explain. But in the context of the budget that is coming up, I want to deal with those matters there. Yes. People don't understand what ring bang was. Even today I spent some time explaining to a particular fellow.
What it was, yes.
Man. These things you don't understand. But when you're back against the wall with this budget that's coming up here, Massive retrenchment going to be taking place. And I had also mentioned to you, and I want to repeat it, that we went out there during the general election campaign. And I said that on your program here too, and we say it all over, and all our meetings are on tape. So we have flash drive with them, and they're online. And we said, after this election, COVID is going to skyrocket in this country.
Yes.
And I said that they're going to be shutting down this place.
Yes.
Because we went out there. There were 3 parties in Tobago. Trinidad, the PNM, and the UNC do the same thing in Trinidad. But there were 3 parties. We, which was One Tobago Voice, the PDP in Tobago, which was the agent of the UNC, and I say that without making any apology. We're in trouble, in this place. And the PNM. We were saying to people, we are advertising a meeting for so-and-so place. Please do not come except you have a vehicle. Because if you have a vehicle, all of these are announced, all throughout the place. If you have a vehicle, you could social distance.
Yeah.
You stay in your vehicle and listen. Because some of you may want to come with your vehicle in order maybe to see the speakers that are talking.
Yes.
So you stay in your vehicle and you'll be able to see. And you may have a question to even ask one of them after the meeting. You may be able to talk to go one-to-one and talk to have something clarified. Other than that, these meetings are live, and we give you the name of the radio station that you should turn on to that. Stay home, turn on to that, and you go listen. And they are also live on our Facebook page. Don't come. I listen because we go all throughout the place. We listen to the PNM announcing meeting, especially the PDP. They were worse than the PNM. And I say, all of them are bad. But I'm telling you, come out in your large numbers. Come out in your large numbers. They are motorcade. Not the one motorcade on the Sunday, There are many. We had a meeting in Lekito, and they passed through the motorcade. Imagine they leave Mariah by Duke, going to a meeting in Mason Hall, which is next door. They passed through Lekito to pick up people, and they announcing the meeting for Mason Hall. They went down Arnorsville, go down to Bethesda, come through Plymouth, come through Wim, Dunvegan, and they didn't go back up Mason Hall through Concordia. They come back through Lekito and meet us at the meeting. Say the same thing with a motorcade. And I say, but what is this by? We got have COVID, got to take over this place, So when we were talking from a point of view of our own experience, the information, the thing we saw. See what happened? Just happened. We gone to a meeting in Delaford, and we saw the PNM at a meeting in Delaford. Not in Delaford, right by Bessie's Hope Intensive. I mean, if you see the crowd of people, distance, if you see the crowd of people all upon one another, men drinking, men doing. I said, Lord, we came from Charlottesville. I said, Lord God, we have no regard.
Just permit me to take some comments here because they are coming in very quickly. We have one here from Mr. Antonio Phillips.
Let's talk agriculture next time. Can't talk agriculture. We have to fix the politics at Tobago before we talk agriculture. Although we will talk. We have to fix Antonio Phillips, we have to fix the politics at Tobago, or else nothing else will be fixed. Or else you'll be talking about fixing that little thing here, fix this little thing, fix that little thing. But when you fix the politics at Tobago, then you have a vision for the island, and then everything will be fixed. The politics have to be fixed first.
I see you also mentioned what
how about the THA election in respect to our main goal? What should it? You ask the same question a million times.
We have also a comment here from Mr.
Well, when Antonio Phillips come and talk to me, we write a thing here about the youths. We write our policy about the youths. I don't know what you call youths, about what will happen to them. We tell them it's like the jewel of our country, and there's a program that deal with them. I don't know we can take out youth from anything, We have to educate them first of all, or else if you remove them from that, you're preparing them for a dangerous fall. And I see a lot of politicians damaging young people by mamagaing them. We want to give you a foundation, and it is here. The development plan is written, taking them. That's why I was educating them first. That is why I was sending them in university first of all. Go get your training. Come back and we're going to teach you the road to walk. We're telling you these are the things that we must be involved in if you have to be competitive to make your way in this world. But first of all, we have to educate you. Without that, You remember the statement I made last week I read? I'm not going to go into that today. We read it last week. Next week I'm going to read it for Antonio. When we talk about what we're going to do, without education, you can't even do agriculture. Because what we do in this country is to say the educated fellas, that what we said, must be able to be doctors, lawyers, and so on. And I said, well, the man who feeding you, get me ignorant? The man who feeding the doctor, feeding the president, feeding the prime minister, you have a backward uneducated, that should be one of the most trained posts in your country. You don't know why? Because just remember, the age we're living in now, when a fella come to with the chemical and the insecticide to kill a particular thing that your crop may have, that he feed you with, he can't read that. He mix a cocktail to kill that. And he sell, and the thing say, if you use even the way they bring it, if you use it without making your own cocktail out of it and so on, mixing two dangerous chemicals, so you have no antidote for it if you get poisoned with it. I see it happen, I see it happen. This is why this will take time to discuss. No. That fella even spray he plants to kill a particular type of insect or virus or bacteria. With the correct insecticide. He may overdose it. Even though he give it the right dose. He may not even be able to understand that thing has to remain on the ground for 21 days before he harvests it. He plant meat up now, the thing take it. I see a fellow do that with lettuce, White fly take over his lettuce. And he take malathion and spread it. And nobody had lettuce in the bag. He eat them the next day. And sell them in the market. Yes, so when you eating good vegetable, you have to deal with poison. Because the fellow who growing it is an uneducated fellow, because you say, but you go to school, so you have to go do farming. And that is the dangerous thing that we are on. And in agriculture, have a lot of things with it. We have to add value. Agriculture is big, because the senior citizens and the old people and the other people who will be doing the hard work in the farm. Because we hardly have large land space here that you can do mechanical farming. Large mechanical farming. 40 acres of land, 35 acres, you put a tractor. Most of it is hillside farming. All right? So when you go out there and you are doing that kind of farming outside there, remember you are producing food. Let me say, whether it's a cocoa field, whether it is vegetables, whatever you may be doing, remember, you may want to can, package, make jam, make jelly, make some other product, make Charles chocolate, make something else. Just remember, that factory set up here. So what we used to do long ago, and it's the same pattern that continue. Our father and mother grow the cocoa in the field, sell it raw. Them fellas send it out to Canada and England. And in England is my cocoa that my father worked to get next to nothing because he's the primary man down in the field. Yes, that employ accountant, process engineers, because they may producing that thing there, and they're producing chocolate, process engineers, chemical engineers. If we have those plants here in Tobago, our children involved in agriculture downstream will be university graduates. Rather than selling the primary product to other countries and their children outside there, which are the university people working at the higher level, we should be doing some of those things here. When I see the amount of mangoes that waste in this country, we should be having factories here set up and doing that kind of thing, making juices, making this, making that. Our children will be working in those factories as engineers, process engineers, chemical engineers, civil engineers, all like that, coming out of our agriculture. That is agriculture, So when we talk agriculture, we're not talking about in the field alone. Like the primary product, you are getting the raw material out. Let others do the raw material. We who out there, we are the man in the sun. You, my children who come out in the university, you the factory producing this stuff to export to the world. Agriculture is not what people think. We have to sit down with that. This is only just I am a registered experienced farmer over 30 years.
Yes, that's
doing what? What are you farming in? What is he producing? What
he plant peas, corn, different things he plants as well.
Look at that. What about your children? He planting peas. If he gets so many acres of peas, I remember we are holler here. Anybody canning peas in Tobago? Huh? Anybody canning and packaging, even though they have the plastic thing now where you're bringing peas from outside, wherever. You know it's a factory that is set up to do that. You know the level of staff and the quality of the staff and the profession of those staff that work in those places to produce those things. Even the labeling of those bags and so on. You know that is agriculture? Is a byproduct of agriculture? Eh? That is what I am saying. So you are producing peas, you are the old man. Your children went to university, they should be in the factory. Eh? With the degrees producing the other thing, value added. You know, boy, sometimes you get so tired when you come in this place to talk this evening for 30 years and 40 years, you know, easy, you know. And you have young people outside, they're voting nonsensical. Sometimes you get your tired, you know. I now understand Moses, you know. When God tell Moses, go and talk to the rock now. He get vexed with the people, you know, he vexed with them. Because he said, God bring us here and they're disobeying. When God said, talk to the rock, Moses get vexed with the people. He hit it twice, whop, I'll drink. He water come out, you know. Sometimes I just feel like that's when I'm talking to the Tobago people. We have to keep you calm. All right, let me hear
His
you.
next comment from Mr. Antonio Philip again.
I don't understand him sometimes, you know. He said, what do we do in the meantime while the education? What can you do? And that's what I am telling you, you have to vote and change the politicians in Tobago. Because they don't know what to do. They have the money, they have the power, they're not doing anything. So you must go out there and campaign and change the leadership in Tobago. And then when that leadership changes and you put leadership like us in office, you are going to get the things that you want to have done. Simple as that. That's the truth. Other than the leadership it is.
Yes, people, keep your comments. Keep the
Yeah, because I don't understand sometimes when people say, what we got to do in the meantime? What do you want to have done? And then I will tell you how to get it done. A lot of people know what, but they don't know how. My duty is to help you with the how, because we have journeyed through that already. You calling to say, you want that fella because you like your jersey. But the jersey can't give you food to eat. He can't educate your children. You can't give them money in their pocket. You have to find people who will be able to design a system that will provide you with that wherewithal. We sit on the richest island in the Caribbean. But you take your power and give it to somebody in Trinidad and ask me to advise them.
So true then.
You take your vote. That's why I think politicians come to you for their vote. Exactly. They don't have no power to do nothing. It's you that went and vote for them and empower them to do what they're doing to you. What they're doing to you, you empower them to do that. And you know that if you empower Brother Murray will not do you that. But you're not empowering Brother Murray because you're small-minded.
Correct.
But if from Boko, boy, you all are we have to stay down. Yeah. Like the attitude. Mm-hmm. You know, Indian fella asked me that today. Why Tobagonians hate black people? Why black people in Tobago hate black people? Mm-hmm. And I had to explain that in a different way to it. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling him, you know, every country like that. But you know, but that is not all over. But we know and we explain why.
Yes.
I had to explain to him, and it's true. Say, find that so.
Just
and it's true.
This comment from Diane Roberts. We don't
know what the hell we want. Yes, we know. But we don't have the strength to decide to take it, to do it.
And Mr.
We know what we want.
Take this comment. We have Margaret.
Exactly. She said exactly. Yeah. We know what we want.
And
we just want the strength to do it.
Yes. Let's take this comment so we can start it. We will start to speak from there. But just take this one from Mr. Alvin Samaru and then Mr. Antonio.
He said, he's making a statement. Agriculture helps lower the GDP.
All right.
But of course, but not only that, it improves the GDP of the country, the gross domestic product. It increases it, not lowers it. It increases that. It lower the the exchange rate, the food import bill.
Yes,
The
yes.
food import bill. So it means that our foreign exchange is safe when we develop the agriculture. Here, we have to take our foreign exchange to buy goods from outside of Trinidad and Tobago, when we should use that, produce the agriculture we sell, the food we sell, to feed ourselves, and then use our foreign exchange to buy things that we don't produce here, like medicine and so on, that we don't produce in the country. So that is the direction in which we have to go. But you really want a government, leadership in Tobago, that could sit down to do that. And we would have done that with a 15-year development plan that we never implement. It's still there.
Yes, just take this comment. We have two comments. We have from Mr. Antonio Phillips and also Sheila Gibbs. Good afternoon to you, Ms. Sheila Gibbs.
No, Antonio asked, who is we to be in power to make the change? Tobagonians. And you have the power with the rest of 65,000 to put those Tobagonians inside there. You and all could be inside of that. Is it Tobagonian that to do that? The Tobagonian to decide who is the we?
Yes. Take this one from Sheila Gibbs there.
Because the Tobagonians are voting to give the people the power. You are hearing them before the election, so you know those that will do the thing on your behalf. You are the ones with the power to put them there.
Yes.
If you give somebody else the power, they can't go there to do it for you. So that's the we are talking about. The we that you have in your hand to decide whether they go there or they're not there.
Yeah.
And that will determine whether you will get anything or get nothing. Sure, I give. Yes, we do, but we need strength. Just ask the Holy Spirit for the strength. He has it. You don't need any strength. You just make up your mind.
And Mr. Rastamaru said, well said, Mr. Charles.
Yeah, I see you. Thank you, Brother Samaru. I mean, we need time to spend with our people, right? Because some of them would have been misled for so long, deceived for so long. Some of them get so fed up with politicians because of the fact that they're not listening to the right people. They don't have the kind of tool that we call the intellectual resources in order to examine some of the stupidness that people tell them. Like somebody will tell them, by it better we stay, Trinidad and Tobago is one, so it better to have the same people run the government of Tobago in Trinidad. I will sit down to explain that like the most detrimental thing to this island. If you talk to the fellow they call Trevor Craig, he used to write a piece on the Tobago News they call Write Off the Keyboard. He stopped writing years ago. And he used to write that.
Right off the
The man tell me by shame. You know? He said because the worst thing he ever do, because he really did believe that if you are the government in Trinidad, it's PNM. It's good to put the PNM here because it's going to be easy to do that. They recognize that it's the worst thing that you ever do. And it's true. And there are reasons for that. Because they dictate to you what must be done here. And I saw a piece yesterday from the United States government, the United States State Department. And I had read a piece that I will bring it here to tell you about the corruption interfering with the investment in Trinidad and Tobago, the level of corruption in Trinidad and Tobago, and the bureaucracy in Trinidad and Tobago, preventing investment and preventing and delaying so many things in Trinidad and Tobago. I cut it out and put it on home yesterday in newspapers. And I had that from 1993, where the World Bank said that.
Wow.
Since then.
Let's stay this next.
So the central government make all decisions in the country.
Yes.
So once they make one decision, the whole country affected. But when you decentralize, just like in America, America have president. It deal with the federal government.
Correct.
But each state have their own government. So you go in this state, there you have one president. You go in this state, the laws different from California laws, different from New York laws.
Yes.
Because they look at the environment in New York and they pass a law, they have a governor, they have their own system in there. But you have one United States of America. And as you say, you have one Trinidad and Tobago, but Tobago will make a decision for Tobago. So if the government make a stupid decision in Trinidad and it affect Trinidad, it would not affect us in Tobago.
Just take this comments from Mr. Alvin Samaru.
Just now, to go north side, we'll have to... I wonder why you said that.
And then take this one from Mr. Antonio Phillips.
And you have to remember that you remember the last time I come here and talk about when I launched a Writing a Day development plan on the 20th of February. And I said, we live in the sea. Why do we have to use the roadways? shouldn't we consider, you remember, using the sea to transport material and people from village to town and vice versa? So, Mr. Samaru, you are on the ball. we said that. By this time, we would have been able to use the sea in Tobago to do a lot of transportation around from coast to coast.
Yes,
I mean, a man going to Charleville, why you have to load up with this material from in Scarborough, drive through all them narrow roads going up the east into Charleville, down Charleville, and when the boat could go up into Charleville, dock in Charleville, drop the building material in Charleville?
Yeah.
I mean, something wrong with us, you know.
Yes.
All of that we write since when? 1997. And the development plan was prepared for 2000. And we intend to implement it from 2001. We lose the election in January. It's still there. Yes, we take
That's coming from, we had 2 comments from Mr. Antonio Philip and one from Mr. Alvin Samaru, good electrician guy.
Mr. Antonio Phillips, please read me carefully. The people that are there is you put them there. It's the Tobagonian that vote and put them there. And you are quite right that they don't know what they're doing. And you know our vote in this election to remove them from there and put those who you know will be there to do the things you want. It's as simple as that. It is as simple and as difficult as that. I love him.
Yes. Great challenge.
Yeah, but I know he said the same thing, which is true. The people who are there may not be the ones to make the change. We know they can't make it. We need to address that carefully. And all I'm saying to it, an election is coming up when you are going to examine the performance and you are the ones who said, no, all you do well are putting in Mr. Godfrey Murray and these others here to do this work. It's as simple as that. Running a country is so difficult, you know. The election is just all you need to do. Get quiet. The bus service. Everything is controlled from Trinidad. Everything gone back to Trinidad since I leave office. Everything come up from Trinidad and run from Trinidad. The boat is run from down there. Everything, the airport is run from down there. Everything is run. Although the law is there, and that is contrary to the law. But because you have PNM and PNM there, and the boss is in Trinidad, the boss say, you sit down quiet, I am going to run the show in Tobago. That is contrary to the law. And that is the difficulty I'm saying about PNM there and PNM here, or UNC there and UNC here. It's wrong. I love all you.
Mr. Antonio said thank you, and he just send a next comment.
Oh, Lord. Look at the time, boy. It is as simple as that. Mr. Antonio Phillips, it is as simple and as difficult as that. I am journeying on this thing for 43 years. I know. I went through all. So what I tell you, just do what I tell you. Just make up your mind as to the persons and just do what I tell you and you're going to see what happens. What difficult in it is you going and vote. Do what is right. Don't do what people tell you. And what you see look like you go win. Just do what is right and God bless you. Following this. You know, it's as simple as that. If we were saying the same thing before we get it to Tobago to Assembly, we would have never get it, you know. If we were talking like Antonio Phillips, but hard. What is hard? You hearing the people. You know in your conscience, you like me, you have a same heart and a same conscience like me. And you know. You know, them people like there. You know that from before. They're not good. And you're hearing this. And, let me say something I know where coming in my spirit. The PDP is not the people to do it because they are going to be the UNC in Tobago and they will be doing the same thing or worse than the PNM doing because they are Trinidad parties.
Just take 2 comments there. You have Margaret and you have Miss Boris.
Margaret. Oh, Grace, man. I love Grace. But I want to see that lady bad, you know, boy. They won't make no changes for Tobago bottom line. I don't understand it. You know, Mr. Charles, what is your role in the Tobago landscape? I don't understand what you mean by that. I am educating you all to liberate you. That is my role. Educating you, and I want to lead a team of people and show them what must be done. I'm telling you straight. Miss Boris, I'm telling you straight. I want to lead a team of people into the Tobago House of Assembly. Include anybody from Tobago, including you. Lead you inside it to show you what must be done. And it would not take me more than a year and a half. I resign and gone. You can't send you. If you check That's why Moses lead the people, you know.
Yes, yes.
And then Joshua follow him right through. Until when he meet their God, say, all right, good. He go in over there with them. And
Yes, yes.
he go carry them overside. You check the records in the world, in every country.
Yes.
I remember he happened in St. Lucia, you know. That fellow was resigning, John Compton. And he resigned and the people were giving trouble. He came back out at 82 years of age. Come out, win the election for the people, show them what to do, resign and gone.
And go on, yes, yes.
Going back on the farm. Tobagonian hard, you know. We're not understanding. You can't send you. Politics don't work so. That's all I want to do, you know. People want to become something, but they would not become if they don't hear what I'm saying.
Yes, yes.
And I'm saying that, record it. If they don't hear what I'm saying, they would not become chief. I was chief, I don't want that name. I was that already.
Yes, yes.
And if the election in Tobago was about having a chief secretary, Ho Choi Charles would not be involved. I preached it 1,000 times, you're hard. If the election in Tobago was about having a chief secretary in Tobago, Ho Choi Charles will not be involved in no election in Tobago. That's why we want to fix that, so that you will not be overwhelmed and overturned and damaged by Trinidad. I want to carry it to show you, because it will take a year to do that, you know. Because so many things going to happen within that year, you know. When you win that election, we went through that with the PNM, you know, and others, you know. We know what is to be done and know what they're going to do. Anybody will be make cannon fodder.
Yes, yes.
And that is all I want to do. I should have been done a long time, you know. I would not have been involved now, you know.
Yes.
But, oh God, we are allowing prejudice to move us from the truth, to blind us to the truth. Prejudice. Me not like he shot. Me not like how we just talk. Me not like how the one that does do that. But if you're sick and you get cancer, and Mr. Murray is 100 years of age, and he is the man to cure your cancer. You're not going to sleep in bed with him. When he cure your cancer, you can be ungrateful, although you should not be.
Yes, yes.
And turn your back on him if you want, because he's the man to cure your cancer. But you are going to ask Mr. Murray, what is your age? Mr. Murray, me not like the jersey I want. Well, you're going to die with your cancer. It's as simple as that.
Yes. Let's say this comment from Margaret, and then we have a voice note from Mr.
It is
Antonio.
not that they can't. They have no intention to do so. Tobago needs to wake up. I agree with Margaret. Margaret. Yes, Margaret. Margaret. And that is what her choice trying to do, wake them up. And I want some financial and human resource to help wake them up. Yes. And I see the name of the person who came on before Miss Grace. That's a young lady that I really have.
Yes,
Mr. Murray, you know that?
Yes.
I have a heart. I try my best to do a lot of stuff. And I saw she have a piece already only yesterday, about depression. I want to see that lady bad, you know. Real bad. She has such a... Nobody else could help her to do that, you know.
Miss Grace, Mr. Charles is trying to get a contact number
Jesus,
to contact you.
Please,
if you could do such by
somebody give me a number, I call it,
or you can call your station and we can have your number.
It's so important, because I want to say this. Anybody who still stay with the PDP, and let me say that, with the PDP where it is right now, I want them to tape what I'm saying. Anybody who stays with the PDP will die in opposition. Because the PNM will spend any money to have the PDP as the competitor in the THA election. I saw what the campaign is.
Yes, yes.
And the business community in Tobago and the rest of Tobago will not vote for the PDP, because they saw it as the UNC coming over the night of the election.
Yes,
when they saw on it, and I am telling people, so remove from this thing they call PDP. Remove from it.
Well, people, we are up to news time. It's now 1 minute after the hour.
The PNM want the PDP as the contestant in the election. It's the only way they will guarantee to win. Oh God, and I wanted to save the people in the PDP. Come over here, let me show you something. And only will be in charge of the theatre. They will be in charge.
Yes, yeah.
Oh Lord, come let me teach you some politics, man.
I see a few
Kalena and them don't want it to happen because they behind something happening. You know what they're saying? They may dissolve the house in next month. They may dissolve the THA next month. I'm going to finish now. They may dissolve the assembly next month to have the election in January to prevent any gelling of this thing that they're talking about.
We have few comments, and let's take those comments quickly.
Voice note.
Yes, Antonio Phillips, I know you have a send a voice note. We're going to play it there just now. Just take this one up here from...
Sean Lovelace and go away. I don't understand what you say.
That's what he said, it? Fools.
No, Sean Lovelace
yes.
saying and go away. I don't know where that's coming from.
But he sent one up here before.
Foolishness. Who is Sean Lovelace?
I don't know.
Why he doesn't write? Tell Sean Lovelace to write something that we see. And in love, we're going to respond to your population so you could be trained and educated and informed. Rather than just sending a word on there that doesn't mean anything. Anybody could say that.
Yes.
It doesn't require any brain to say what you're saying there. Any brawn could do that. We want the person, regardless of your level in life, to engage us so that you could learn something to come out of your ignorance.
Just
and I'm serious.
Last comment from Mr. Samaru, and then we'll take the voice notes, Mr. Antonio.
Wait, Samaru.
Right here.
Why the oil and gas ships go straight across the west of Trinidad to be inside who refine it? Yeah, that's because they don't want the country to know. The government of Trinidad does not want the country to know is in Tobago where the money coming from, where the oil and gas coming from.
Yes.
Because they always want to have you where they have you to tell you you're always coming down to beg with for we money. But if the ships they leave from right here, and that is why they were developing the harbor down there in and I think the Chinese people in Togo.
Yes.
Because they don't want to build it in Tobago. Yes. So the ships and they were going to be leaving the harbor in Togo to go straight up to Charleville and collect the oil and gas and sell it outside there.
Yes.
When really and truly is Tobago, the thing should be in Charleville. When I was there and they started to do the first one in Point 14, everything had to be done in Charleville. Yes. They wanted to feed the people, and I said, no. Hello, and just remember, we didn't have all the power to know. I said, hello, no. Watch me. You know they have to remove the from Labre and put it in Charleville. That is how the Belgarden people, up to now, we still have a deep sea diver or two working with those international companies from that time period with those people. Some of the greatest deep sea divers coming out of Charleville.
Yes.
The computers them in our school come from that signature bonus.
Yes.
We throw away Tobago, man. But then, we meet news time.
Yeah, we
actually in great wake-up call for Tobago. Thank you, Shola.
And Margaret said no PDP, no UNC.
Yeah, just right. No PNM, right. No PNM, no PDP. Because PDP is the agent of UNC in Tobago. Yeah. That's not a joke. And that's why the PNM campaigning on that, why they want them in the race.
All right, so right now we make our way out.
Yes.
As we're making our way out, I see Sean Lovelace. Hey, keep your all comments coming next week. We will continue with this, but tell what happening. We're out of time. All right, let's just play.
Sean Lovelace don't have any kind of knowledge.
Let me just
I would like him to come early.
Come in next time, Sean.
Sean,
from
come in early.
5:30 with us start, so come in with your comments early, so that we can...
Because what he's saying there, we want him to say where he is now. Something happened. Tobago is in a position. What is required to take us out of there? What he's saying there is no use to him, not Tobago.
All right, so let's take
it's
this
useless
voice,
comment here.
Let's take this voice note as we make our way out.
Go ahead.
Right. Blessed love to everybody. Mr. Charles, thanks for the information. Here my question. How do I get this to vote for Mr. Godfrey Murray and he is not up for the elections? How is that possible? If you understand where I'm coming from.
I'm just saying to you that what we are doing, we are just giving some examples that he can be Murray. You can only vote for the candidates that are candidates after nomination day. So we don't know who's going to be the candidates, and that's what I'm saying. If Mr. Murray is one of the candidates and he is one of the person that you know will be able to deliver your goods, all I'm saying, vote for him. There are no candidates yet, so we can't name nobody. I just give you an example, just a reference.
All right, and thank you. So don't forget, viewers, pop in early next week. We are here. And don't forget on Thursday, Mr. Anthony James, he will be here from 5:30 to 7 as well. After that, we take it to Vintage. So please share up the page. Looking forward to see each and every one during the week. And don't forget, as I said again, on Thursday,
people take
we're
things
inside.
literal.
All right.
Literally meaning that Mr. Murray himself.
So our viewers,
Mr. Murray is the person that you know
yes,
will fix it, and he's a candidate, you vote for it.
Yes,
It can be me, it can be anybody else. Just look for the person who will do.
You're right.
Vote for that person.
That's it.
And they become a candidate.
So with this, we out of here.
Yeah,
Therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver
Wayne Clark,
him
good night to you. Look forward to see you all on Thursday, sorry, with Mr. James.
and show my salvation.
Good night to you, Mr. James, as well. Mr. Anthony James.
The workers of iniquity dig a pit for me. Now they're waiting for me to fall in. Trying to take my bread and butter with lies and propaganda. But they're fooling, they're only fooling. I will not be afraid of what man can do to me. Man, you see, is only vanity. You see, who God bless, no man curse. He shall never hunger or thirst. Who God bless, no man shall ever curse. He shall be first. He shall be first. Ah, Lord. Whoa. All these years of toil, burning the midnight oil, creating something from nothing. Now it reached maturity and gained popularity. Some of them claiming is their own thing, but a short truth always prevails finally. So the death of lies and deceit is a certainty. You see, who God bless, no man curse. He shall never hunger or thirst. Who God bless, no man shall ever curse. He shall be first. He shall be first.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
Good night also to Diane. Nice having you from beginning to end, man. And also to Mr. Anthony James. Also to Wayne Clark out there in Brooklyn, New York. Good night to you.
All this envy and jealousy is causing disharmony. It's appalling and frustrating. But whosoever diggeth a pit, they shall fall in it. What they sow in, they shall be reaping. But my house is strong and no one can push it down. The foundation is for now till thy kingdom come. You see, who God bless, no man curse. He shall never hunger or thirst. Who God bless, no man shall ever curse. He shall be first. He shall be first.
As the nation continues in its fight against the deadly novel coronavirus, COVID-19, GLS 103.5 urges you to continue observing the new normal. Continue social distancing. Wear your face mask. Wash your hands regularly. Use hand sanitizers. Avoid assembling. And generally continue to clean and sanitize your environment. We thank everyone for their continued yeoman service. The doctors, nurses, hospital attendants, supermarket attendants, hardware workers, those involved in pharmaceuticals, public service transport workers, sanitation workers. You are to be applauded in the fight against this deadly novel coronavirus COVID-19. We urge the nation to continue to be safe and take the necessary precautions against COVID-19.